Hello, my fellow YouTube family. This video is about the Russian stock market. I got updates and all that. I got interfax.com. Okay. And then I got the actual Russian RTS exchange. Okay, and it's important because it says April 27th, 2012. The reason I'm making such a note about that is that sometimes, prior to making this video, I accidentally printed something off that was like 3 or 4 years ago, or old, I should say, from the that I thought that was today's problem. Okay, this is the news with the Russian stock market. Okay, capitalization of Russian stock market decreases 18% on Tuesday. Of course, this is today's news. The capitalization of the Russian stock market based on Russian trading or system trading decreases 18% or by approximately $1.584 trillion from the previous session. And now it's 855,163 million on Tuesday. Okay, this is really important stuff. If you want to pay attention to more, go to RTS stock exchange for the Russian. It's a Russian stock exchange. It'll give you really, it'll give you some graphs and their index about buying stocks and stuff like that, how well it's doing or how bad. And the reason that is pertinent is always use multiple sources and make sure we use reliable sources. I don't want to get anybody into a panic, but we don't want to. One thing about being a responsible YouTube individual is that we need to be accurate. We expect everything we see on TV to be accurate as far as news, baseball, football, whatever. We want things accurate. And this is really important, though, about the Russian stock market crashing, and that's why the government stepped in to stop it. And it's no longer rumor, gossip. It is something to really think about. I'm going to do a part 3 to this video a little later today. I got some more information about other European countries, and I got to go mow my ex-wife's lawn. But I got to do some work today, but a little later tonight. But this is very, very important, is because these problems are not just happening in Greece or Portugal or Spain, and these problems are widespread. A lot of countries in South America, United States. The only reason we don't go under yet is because we have massive amount of resources, not money, but we're able to produce our own oil, manufacturing. Our warehouses are well supplied, well stocked. But something to really think about is the stock market crashing. It really surprised me, is because I should have been up and aware of this, but there's always a media blackout. There's always mass disinformation, like Greg Vegas says. And what he says, Greg Manarino, is that the governments are preventing anybody from knowing about this. Why did we find out about the collapse of the Dutch government until the other day? They don't want people to know. They don't want people to get out there, and they don't want to know how bad it was. And this is something I study. Yeah, if you don't know a lot about me, and if you just start watching my videos, is that I'm actually in school to be a pastor. 15 years as a soldier, and I spent 30 years in martial arts. But being in school, and I'm going to be graduating within the year, and some of my classes aren't just religious classes. They're all history classes, which I studied world history, European history, and that was a big thing to me, and economic classes. And but I also buy and sell stocks. That's why I'm a little bit more aware of what happens in Europe. But the big thing is that when we see the stock market in Russia and all that collapse, nobody wants to be the first country to fall. or have problems. These governments are holding back this information, and that's the problem. The big thing with the reason the Russian stock market dropped 18% and they stopped is that they mass produced a lot of goods and sold them cheap, thinking that they're going to make a quick turnaround. And what had happened is that they sold all these goods to the Western European countries and America or whatever. There's no supply or demand. Therefore, the shares collapsed. That is exactly what had happened. But one of the big things too with Russia, and they still do it like they did in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, is they got a very high-tech military machine. They pour a lot of money into the military, just like the United States does. And that's where we're having problems. We don't put things back into the economy like we should. We're building military. When your military budget is $692 billion a year, there's a problem. Considering even China is only at $100 billion, Russia $40 billion a year. All right, the stock market it's going to pay. It affects us. If no other countries would have a stock, problems with the stock market or economic collapse, Russia by itself we wouldn't care. But the problems isn't that, that's a wishful thinking scenario. But what we want to do is we want to be able. Europe has to hold together, and it won't. More than likely by September or October, by the latest, you're going to see the Eurozone fall apart. And the other problems is if the Eurozone collapses, the United States dollar will fall. To show you how weak the European Union is when the Russian ruble did well against the euro. That's not good. Right, and that's something we got to think about. It isn't. We got like the Czech Republic. Somebody corrected me the other day. It's one of the Baltic states, like Serbia, Croatia, and like that Czech. One of the reasons I kind of got off topic. My wife and I when I finished up school, I want to go be a missionary. And one of the things I wanted to look at is I wanted to go to Eastern Europe. Or like Moscow, I want to be there for a year or two, and go to Warsaw, Poland, Bucharest, Budapest. Go there, spend a year or two there, because I can outright retire if I wanted, right now. But I checked out the cost of living, houses, apartments. When your middle class is only making $500 a month, and when I looked at these apartments and stuff like that, this is a few months ago, and when you're paying $500, $600, $700 a month for some of these apartments, I mean, the cost of living is about 2/3 of that of the United States, and they only make about 1/4 of what the average American makes. Its inflation is going up, and that's what we're seeing in these European countries. A lot of the problems that they have is that until 1989, Eastern Europe was all part of the Warsaw Pact. All these countries, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, Poland, East Germany, their economies relied upon a military machine, a military industry. But when you put everything in the military, you're not paying attention to the economy or the industry, or there's not going to be any growth. That's the big thing. That's where we're going to see a lot of these countries, not just Eastern European. Netherlands is not part of Eastern Europe, and their government collapsed. The austerity measures are enormous. Nigel Farage says it the best, as like Greece, you can't bail them out and expect, give them money for what? They didn't. Greece, what they did last year were last year's bailouts. They bought warships, tanks, fighters. They poured everything into the military. And that's why 5 years ago, when they had over 1 million businesses in Greece, now over 250,000 of them went bankrupt. They didn't pour nothing back in the economy, which is helping the people. They're not developing jobs, whether it's manufacturing or whatever. They poured everything into the military. the austerity measures, Greece couldn't pay it back before. Why would they pay it back now? And that's the problem. You're going to see a lot of countries default. Basically, even though Greece got the bailout here a few months ago and stuff like that, they're going to help. They're not going to pay back the trimmed debt that they got now. They're not going to pay any of it back. And that money evaporated from the International Monetary Fund in Germany. And it's not fair to the Germans that because they borrowed all this money out to the International Monetary Fund, European Union, that they should pay anymore. But instead, there's going to be taxes that are going to get raised. So austerity measures are placed upon the Germans. Well, I've got to go. Please subscribe. I'll try to keep this interesting. Like I said, go to interfax.com, and that will give you about the capitalization of Russian stock market, and then go to the RTS stock exchange for Russia. Thank you very much, and God bless. One other thing I just want to cover quick. If we ever go into a total SHTF scenario or WROL, whatever you prefer, if you can get to where I live and individual basis, bring whatever you can. I'll give you my phone number, my address. If you can get it, if you make it here, if there's a total collapse or something like that, that'd be great. And I'll do the best I can to take care of you. God bless. Love all.